yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to La Vecchia Signora. All right, so if you love Juve, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button. And for everybody else, we are going to be recapping, obviously, the 3-3 draw between Juve and Bologna. I don't know who had that on their bingo board. We had draws, and we definitely didn't have it at 3-3. We definitely didn't have it in that fashion. All right, so yeah,
Well,
hell of a comeback there.
I had a 2-2. That's not.
You didn't
Not
have
that
a
hard.
3-goal comeback within 8 minutes. All right, so let's just stop there. Stop there, okay? You got the tank top back on, but
Sorry.
nobody had something like that, especially such an abysmal beginning to this game. But we're going to take a look at it. We're going to take a look at some of the key storylines out of that game because there was quite a bit still to break down, as a lot of rumors are circulating around the coach on the other side. One of the players who was a main protagonist for Bologna in this game, all right? And then we get news, of course, today and following we have to talk about. We've got to talk about Fagioli, who makes his return as well and whatnot. So, yeah, we've got a ton to tackle here. I'm looking forward to this one. It's myself. It's Omer. Let's get ready to rock, everybody. Get those likes up while you're dropping in here, all right? So, ciao to everybody that's popping in right now. And Tony Trim saying, buongiorno tutti. If yesterday was a sign of things to come, Calafiori, the future looks bright. Forza Juve saying unsure about the man bun, but if he gets rid of that, 1,000% in on Calafiori. So there you go. Swarit showing love to Kieza, who kicked it all off there, but we're gonna have a ton to tackle here. And Animesh, Fagioli in, 3 goals scored. Coincidence? Hang tight,
Probably.
and let's take a look. First off, Omer, how you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm great. It was actually a fun game for 15 minutes. And yeah, my favorite band just released a new single from the upcoming album, so I'm psyched. I've yet to listen to it. And end of the season. What can we say? It was an entertaining match.
Who's your favorite band?
Oh, Nightwish.
And what did they
Nightwish.
release?
They released a new song from an album that's coming out in September. And a band from Finland, my favorite for like forever. So I'm super excited. I'm going to listen to it with my wife later when she gets home. And
Nice.
that's about it. Yeah.
There we go. Now, let's get into it. Let's get into this thing, okay? We've got a lot in the news headlines that we're going to tackle after we just quickly recap this game, okay? So you're going to want to stick around for the news. First thing before we get to any of it, tanti auguri go out to Mr. No Good, Mario Mandzukic, celebrating his birthday today, all right, May 21st. Man, do we ever miss a guy like that, hey? Just no
Yeah.
nonsense, all business, and always came up when you needed him the most in clutch moments. Man,
And
miss that guy.
those are not just words, those are stats. When he left, I posted a stat about him, and I'm going to read it to you now. So Mandzukic stats in games he scored. He scored in 41 games. 39 of them were wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. He scored 44 goals in those matches. 19 of them were match-winning goals. And the one we lost was unfortunately the Champions League final. But besides that, when Mandzukic scored, Juve won.
Yeah, he was just a beast, man. Love that guy. Love Big Super
Yeah.
Mario there. Unreal. Now, in terms of the other news, we got news around Mana. We got news around Rabio, news around Hoyson, news around, obviously, Calafiori, and news around a certain pickup that, man, I've been a no on for a while, and I start to see so many starting to shift and say yes to, but we'll talk about it after the game. The game. 3-5-2, Szczesny, Gatti, Bremer, Danilo, Cambiaso, Moretti, Locatelli, Rabio, Ilin, Kieza, and Vlahovic. Exactly what was expected going into this game, all right? So, we kick things off. Holy Christ, what a start, man. 1 minute 1 minute in, we can't play our way out of a paper bag, and nobody at the back has the wherewithal to just bomb the ball forward and let's regroup. No, we try to get cute. Locatelli inside to Cambiaso. He has got pressure all over the place. It's stripped. Tech makes a massive save. Okay, so big save there. But on the ensuing corner, we can't clear. It gets crossed in, deflected out, and it sits for you knew he was gonna get it. Hasn't scored in Serie A, and Calafiori buries it. So that's a good omen because usually we sign players that score against us. So Calafiori buries his first there and makes it 1-0. We're a minute and a half into this game, and I'm like, it's one of those things where thinking there's nothing really on the line in this game at all, and Bologna would still like to do it because we talked about the numbers going into this one. It's been 26 years since they've beaten us at home, so we knew they'd probably try and put a little cherry on top to their season. For us, man, even at the best of times through this year, we've been kind of flat and whatnot, so I wouldn't be surprised after the Coppa Italia complete hangover there. But this start, I definitely didn't expect it to be this bad, and it just carried on. It just
And all
carried
that
on.
after a minute and a half. Like,
Yeah,
I, I barely sat down. I was like finishing the dishes, and I'm sitting down with my coffee. I lift my head up. It's 1-0. What the fuck happened? We're a minute in. How is it? But, well, the team didn't show up.
it's unreal. It's unbelievable because again, like you got to cross in 10 minutes later. Bang, Castro. They had two players on it, and it touched both of their heads, for Christ's sake. We were nowhere near this thing. 2-0, just like that. And I'm like, holy Christ, do I just shut it off and continue on building this playground in the backyard for the kids? But I left it going and just watching it as I'm working there and listening to it. And oh my God, the first half was just abysmal from us. Just abysmal, like no cohesion. The
Yeah.
announcers, I just kept hearing the announcers too, just over and over, like this Juventus can't do anything, and I'm like, yeah, pretty much
Can
summed it
do
up.
they can do less than that. I mean, it looked horrible. Nothing was. It looked like they woke up drunk after winning the Copa and just took the pitch. There was no team, no passing. In Bologna, I'm pretty sure they banked on scoring early and finishing the game, taking the spirit out of Juve. And once again, the same formation, the same players, and voila, nothing works. Are you surprised?
Man, the yeah, there must have been some serious Coppa Italia celebrations to be like that because it was
I hope.
abysmal. We'll get
I hope,
to
but
we'll get to the second half here. We get a couple changes. Alcaraz in for Moretti, way up for Cambiaso. And Jesus, man, it's like clockwork anytime I'm looking at certain players because I said Moretti would be one I would look to in this game because he's been on an upward trend for the last couple appearances that he's made and everything. But no, again, in this one, it's just, there's nothing there. There's nothing there again. Weah coming in for Cambiaso. I thought Cambiaso was pretty weak overall, like just not himself.
everyone.
Um, yeah, like it was just really bad. So I really didn't have that big an issue with this. You're already 2-0 down too, but maybe I would have sparked something a little bit more. And I was looking like, hey, let's bring Fagioli in. You're gonna make a move. We've been waiting this long. Let's see him in there. But it was Alcaraz and Weah. 48th minute, Rabio finally makes Skorupski have to make a save. Okay, so he makes his first save in the 48th minute. And that kind of tells you how it's going. 53rd minute, though, oh my God, like a brutal giveaway again. We're just absolutely swallowed up by pressure. And this one was from Calafiori. He continues his run forward. The ball falls to him. And honestly, that's a hell of a finish from Calafiori. That's a hell of a finish for his
Yeah, the
second in
little
this one.
thing. Yeah, that was a
Oh, yeah.
beautiful finish.
And that's three. That's 3-0 down. And at this point, I'm just laughing. Like, what the hell? I
At this
get
point,
it.
I became intrigued. Like, how bad could it get?
Yeah, like
And
it's
I
just
just stayed watching because of that. I was about to turn it off, and well, let's see if they can do something, or we're gonna
yeah.
get scored
I
6 now.
I'll I didn't turn it off. I kept it going, kept it rolling. Let's see what happens. 57th minute. This was an interesting one because it was Yildiz Fergati. So a little bit of an interesting one there, and of course we know Montero was there. Then you've got the 70th minute. Fagioli finally comes on, and man, let's just stop and talk about Fagioli and what you noticed from his game. First time we've seen him in a long time.
Well, we had someone who can make a 5 yard pass and can actually link up and move around the open spaces, which we lacked severely. And I mean, Montero had the right idea. He just saw what's going on, and he had the balls to take off Rabio, take off Vlahovic, take off Cambiasso, take off whoever was in there and not performing. And I gotta say, he got his substitution spot on. Gatti
Yeah,
was horrible. The team looked angry. They were fouling everywhere. They were aggressive for no reason, and we really risked a red card, and that would have been awful. But Montero actually acted right and did what
yeah.
we all were crying for. I was surprised he left Ealing for the entire match, but yeah, it looked good. Change of formation at that moment. Kieza, Milik, and Yildiz on the pitch. Let's see what Juve can do now.
Yeah.
But
I
the kicker was Calafiori.
Yeah, Vidad saying my boy Nicolo made his return. We already saw what we needed the whole season. Swati, nothing special from Fagioli, quite frankly. That's the thing is nothing special, but honestly, you saw the progression. You saw the looks. Like you saw what his intentions were with the ball every time he got it. I appreciated it, to be honest, and we needed it. And he was one I was looking for this season to have that breakout year. Now, of course, we'll have to look to the next, but I like what he brings. I think there's so much more too, and we'll see what happens. But you touch on a great point that what's the name Montero had the right reads. He had the right reads. It was he made the right calls, and ultimately we start getting to this because 70th minute Fagioli comes in 5 minutes later, and this was a giveaway that was pounced on by Kieza. He did very well to cut the one man, get in there, and then left-footed slot behind Skorupski. That gives us 3-1, and I'm thinking, okay, well, at least we got on the board. That's all I was thinking. I was like, okay, well, we got
Yeah,
on the board.
okay,
You know,
one goal.
no clean sheet, whatever. Well, 83rd minute, Milik, who came in on the 64th minute for Vlahovic, what a free kick, man. Holy.
Beautiful.
And he gets a little bit of help off the head of a defender, okay? But holy shit. That's a beauty. That is a beauty of a hit. We were talking about free kicks yesterday too, Omer. We were talking about losing that, and Vlahovic can offer that whatnot, and then Milik, man, holy smokes, that was a beauty. 3-2, and I'm
Yeah,
thinking, oh my god, could we actually draw this? This is when I had to shut everything down and just fully focus because I'm like, we're gonna draw this thing up, and it would be the most typical shithousery for this season that would just match. Unreal. But
yeah. No,
80,
we didn't mention him. We didn't mention Milik yesterday, but he does have some great free kick goals,
yeah,
not only for Juve. He's a good shot taker, and that was a beautiful one. Took just a bit of a skid there from the defender, and that's what it needed to go in. But then the game got interesting.
yeah. Now we're gonna get into it. Yildiz stripping the ball, brutal giveaway again. A brutal giveaway. Okay. And he runs it back, and this was a very, very nice hit. Nice dipping strike to Skorupski's right. He can't get to it, and that makes it 3-all. And I'm just laughing my ass off that we got back to this thing from 3-0 down to equalize. And my God, in the 87th minute, a 1-2 between Kiesa and Yildiz. And holy shit, we almost won the thing. Big intervention there. Otherwise, Kieza might have just won it right there for us. It does finish 3-3. So, man, Yildiz and Kieza, something that so many were screaming for so long through the season. To just see it. Let's see it. Let's see some guys that have that ability to work 1-2s good enough, and maybe you free up more for Dusan Vlahovic as another outcome from it. Hey, that's what ended up doing some damage in this one with the help of some switches in the midfield. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of shows you that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like we should have seen it much sooner and more often. You know, there's something to
Obviously.
be said for keeping options on the bench, but fuck it, sometimes you're just way too safe. And that's how I look back to Allegri's time. Way too fucking safe. Your thoughts?
Okay, so what did we get that we asked for? We wanted a 4-3-3. We got it. Three forwards scored. The three that were on the pitch. Alcaraz, I thought, was actually pretty great. He did a good job retaining the ball and passing, and taking advantage of basically Calafiori out of the defense, because when he went out, that defense fell apart. Suddenly there was no ball playing guy out there, and they were losing balls left and right. We saw some link ups. The defense went too far at the back with Wea and Illing, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, we've been crying for some of this stuff for a long time. I wanted Kieza to move back to the right side for a long time. The press became easier for the team. And I mean, a lot of things changed the minute we made the subs and changed formation. And we've been crying for it for I don't know how long. I need to add that this is the first time ever that Juventus came back from 3 goals down.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I wish we played that way for a lot longer than 15 minutes, and I can guarantee you he's not going to start with a 3-5-2 in the next match against Monza.
You don't think so, eh?
No, no way.
Be interesting because he ran the youth program with 3-5-2 to mimic what was going on at the senior side and everything. So that would be actually very interesting to see if he does switch it up in that final game at home, obviously to Monza. But yeah, I feel like yeah, we have been capable, but just more. We just needed to see it. We need to try a little bit more, and it's all the same things we highlighted through the season that guys were getting played. And who was the guy subbed out too? Rabio ended up getting subbed out. Alcaraz, I do agree with you. I think he was good. I don't think there was anything crazy there, but I think he did a good job. I think
No,
he did
not
a good
crazy.
job. Same as Fagioli. Nothing crazy, but just the progressions were nice. And God damn it. In saying that, the bar was set so friggin' low prior. Like,
I
what are we even
mean, you
talking
got.
about?
We talked about this in previous podcasts. When you put two midfielders who can pass and actually work in attack next to Lucatelli, then suddenly it looks different, and that's what happened with Alcaraz and Fagioli.
Yeah,
Suddenly, it didn't need to be Locatelli.
yeah. Now, Alex P, just keep your don't get your panties in a bunch, pal. Okay, I got you here. I got you here. Okay. He brought this up and we were talking about it. Relax, relax. The
Yeah, we're
disastrous subs by Malta, which without we wouldn't have made the comeback. So obviously taking out Calafiori and taking out Freuler, who were literally right in the heart of that back set of three triangle that they had, and that's where two definitely came from there in terms of giveaways and everything like that. And Jesus, man, I don't really understand the subs there. Like, I don't really understand that. There's nothing left really to the season. Not sure these guys really need any type of rest or anything like that. They've been playing the one competition. I don't really get it. 3 goals up, though, and maybe trying to get. I don't know the minutes that these other guys had through this season, and maybe thought, okay, well, we're 3-0 up. I could finally get these guys some minutes. I don't know what their numbers are like. to Bologna's season, I can't really quite make sense of that. Am I going to go all in on Malta for this thing? Like maybe is trying to be implied there? Not really. I don't really know. But your thoughts on that,
No.
Omer?
Well, first of all, they started the match without two of their best players. I mean, Xerxes and Luis Ferguson weren't on the pitch, and we still conceded three. And I don't know why he did those substitutions. Maybe he just wanted to spread the minutes. He felt secure after leading 3-0, which is not unheard of. I mean, if Allegri was leading 3-0, he'll take everyone out. And so, I don't know. That's football. You make decisions, and sometimes it doesn't work in your favor. I don't think there's anything beneath that, any intention by Mota to prove anything. It was just a nice game. Things fell apart. Maybe they were tired. Maybe the balance was off. But either way, I enjoyed it. I mean, I watched the 4-4 Real Madrid had with Villarreal, and I'm like, damn, when are we going to get a match like that? And I
Man,
didn't have to wait long.
I yeah, I don't know. This one's just a weird one. I mean, we could have been put. I mean, we were technically put to the sword. A 3-goal lead. Um, Jesus. I don't even care if you're putting in Luca Natale off our cast there into this game at some point. You're probably going to feel like you're safe. I don't know. I don't know. But that game was a wild one to take in, this one yesterday. Not what I expected, but at least an exciting finish. At least we did get to see some goals. It's a draw. I mean, at this point, it's something we've all been ready for, which is this season to just naturally come to its close so that we could get moving forward. Get moving forward with Mercado, start finding out what the actual plan is, coaches, whatnot. Mota, obviously, highly regarded as the guy that's going to be coming in. Calafiori. We are going to talk about Calafiori and everything, but we're going to go through the news coming out of this game and everything that we have, and we're going to go down the list, okay? So, first up is Manna. Manna, the termination of the contract is done, which is what was expected for a long time coming now. He is going to go be taking a sporting director role at another club. Most likely going to be working with the clown show there, and we know who they are. Rabio apparently has given priority to speaking with Juventus before making a decision on what he's going to do. I stand firm. For me, I'm good either way, but I would probably look another route, especially with the financials. I'd probably look a different route. Omer, I'm pretty sure we're in agreement on this one.
Yeah, I'm not renewing that contract. I mean, some people like Rabio, some don't. I, I I fail to see how he's our best midfielder, and if he is, then our situation is bad. It's not to say that he's a bad player.
Yeah.
Um, it's not what we need.
In the dressing room, in the tunnel before they came out for the I believe before they came for the second half, you saw Mota walk up to Bremer and Rabio, speaking
Oh
to
yeah.
both of them. At the end of the game, you see Montero, who, by the way, we didn't talk about it, but Yildiz's goal, Montero's reaction, his celebration
Oh,
was just phenomenal to see. That was the highlight of the game for
oh,
me,
my my childhood, man. Suddenly I had a flashback,
man.
and that's what I wanted from this match. That Montero wouldn't lose and wouldn't be blamed, and he actually managed to make that comeback. I have no idea how. I never expected it, but I'm
Yeah.
so happy he didn't lose that match.
Well, he made some good reads. He made good reads. We call it like he had the right ideas, and the guys. It ended
And
up working. And
reacted.
yes, Bologna made some mistakes, but guess what? We made mistakes on their goals too, some brutal ones. So it is what it is. But he made the right. That celebration though was just awesome to watch. It was awesome to watch Montero. Now the reason I bring up Montero is because after the game, he actually embraces with Mota and talks. That was quite a bit. It was a much longer exchange than normal
Yeah.
after a game for the coaches, and you gotta think he's talking something about, all the speculation and everything of him coming aboard and joining Juventus. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Montero, it was cool to see. It was cool to see. Even though it's not gonna last long, but let's enjoy it while we got it. And that celebration was awesome. I hope to see some more in the final match against Monza. But Motta, yeah, talking to the lads in the locker room or in the tunnel, and then long-winded discussion with Montero, probably going down. Rabio, I could see obviously Motta wanting him to stick around, and that is what all the speculation is. Rabio's going to wait and see. He has given priority to speak to Juventus first before anything. Now we get to Huijsen. Liverpool and Newcastle apparently looking at the player. 30 million could sway Juventus into moving him. Now, the way things are shaping up, new coach potentially coming in and everything. We know we got to fund the Mercado somehow. Anthony still stands firm that he believes Sule and Huijsen will both be sold. I think one will be sold. I'm starting to think it maybe could be Huijsen. But there's a lot of things that we need clarification on first before deciding, and that's why it's very hard when asked these questions. Would you move these guys or would you keep these guys? I'm going to lean towards keeping all the big guys we can for next season. Kieza, Vlahovic, Bremer, and look to move the other guys first. And I know that we're going to have to make some sacrifice. We're going to probably have to look at free agency. And now you get into a name that is thrown out there, and it's Berardi. Again, with Sassuolo getting relegated, and now his name's in the news. And everybody, I see a lot of people that were always no, now saying, yeah, that opens up possibilities for Juventus. Because he apparently has a deal in there that he can break contract with them getting relegated. I am no to Berardi. I'm still a no to Berardi. Omer?
No, that ship has sailed. I mean, he's coming off a huge injury. He's 29, giving him a contract for 3-4 years. That's probably what he'll ask for. I don't need 33-year-old Berardi in the team. No, it's one of those players whose name keeps popping up every Mercado for the past 5-6 years. I believe we can do better. And no, it's a no for me. That ship has sailed.
Yeah, it's a no from me, especially because of the injury and the fact he's going on 30. I mean, no. Like, no. I get it, and yes, we're going to need to use some freebies, but let's take a look around. Let's take a look around and not jump on the 8-year-old rumor, right? So for me, it's a no on Berardi. If it goes down, well,
Look,
a
I'm all
main
for
guy.
selling Huijsen. I'm all for selling Huijsen because I believe we'll need Sule more than we'll need Huijsen. And if that's what we need to do to keep the three big guys in the team, I'm all for it. We don't need, maybe we do, but we are going to shift into four at the back next season. That's all
Yeah.
the reports. And we already have Bremer, Danilo, Gatti, and Rugani. So Hoysen, I don't believe he'd want to be fifth choice. And if you sell him abroad. Yeah, don't sell him inside Italy. Sell him to Liverpool or whoever. I think that's a great deal.
Yeah, we're sacrifices are going to have to be made. So it really comes down to how all you guys feel. If you want to sacrifice some young guys, or if you want to sacrifice some of the big guns. Going into all the comps and everything, I'd rather keep the big guys around. I would much rather keep the big guys around. So we'll see what ends up happening. And now we got to talk about the guy with the brace, Calafiori. Right at the start of the show, a bunch of you saying Calafiori is a must. I've been saying that for a while. He's a must for Juventus. And today we get the rumors that he apparently has chosen Juventus, wants Juventus, and Juve is going to try to wrap this thing up before the Euros. Yeah, get on it and get it done. Mota would probably have a big impact on that one getting secured and everything too, I would imagine. But Calafiori, it's a no-brainer, and it's been a no-brainer for a while, right, Omer?
Yeah, obviously, I've been talking about it since at least December. The guy is great. I mean, you saw yesterday. Every time that's exactly what we need. That ball playing defender to partner up whoever, Gatti, Bremer. I hope Bremer stays because it seems like a good fit. We just couldn't get the ball off him. He always made the right decision in defense when he had the ball. Didn't lose it once, I believe. Second highest for interceptions in the league this season. Good aerially, smart tactically. 22 years old. I mean, the guy is a beast, and he's pretty good looking actually. Um, but yeah, just great signing. Juve need
Yeah.
to close that ASAP. I would have wanted him to throw him in the trunk and take him to Turin right after the game. I hope the rumors are true and that he chose Juve and he has no interest in going abroad. So yeah,
And
a thousand
Kieza.
percent.
Kieza has offered a salute to Allegri. All right, so there were
Oh,
Kiesa watch on that one a little bit later, but he got it done. So that's nice to see. And I stand for
now I can sleep.
all those fucking guys should have, because I never seen a guy take as many bullets for players like he did. I tell you that. Okay, so nice to see that. In terms of some more news, Sule 80% out the door. We love our percentages, don't we? Take a wild guess who brought that one out there, okay? So Monblado
Yeah.
throwing out 80% Sule out the door. When the player and his entourage went back to Juventus, the message wasn't come back and we'll see, but instead they presented offers and Juve told them to go ahead. So what he's claiming is that there are offers there, and Juve has essentially told his entourage to go ahead and explore. So, yeah, that's an interesting one now. So, does that change anything in terms of Berardi if we're losing Sule?
Um, no, no, that's a no for me. Still on Berardi. And well, Goodman's name still runs around. I have no idea what you were planning. But once again, I'm willing to get rid of some of the young guys in order to keep the big three for at least one season until we get everything straight, and then we can let them go. We'll make some money. We can offer for some other players, and if that's what will keep Bremer at the club, then yeah, sell Hoyson and send Sule. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I'd probably end up going. So, Justin B's bringing in a question. If we were okay with Felipe Anderson, why not Berardi? So, Felipe Anderson actually very very consistent through all his seasons. Berardi had good numbers being the guy. Obviously takes all the PKs for Sassuolo and everything, but this injury kind of kills it for me with Berardi. And I was okay with Anderson as a backup, as a support piece, not as a main winger, a main guy in the attack, as a support piece. So that's kind of the thing. If we're looking at Berardi and he's supposed to come in as a main man, I'm still not really okay with that on the backside of that injury that he just suffered.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's a negative. That's a negative. And Justin saying, "Oh damn, I forgot he's hurt." Hey, that's what we're here for. So I'd probably say if Sule is for sure gonna go, yeah, you got to find something, whether it be Goodmanson or whether it be somebody else. I'm still saying Orsolini, you guys, but I know Bologna is gonna be not wanting to be completely ravaged before next season and making their way into European play. But I'd love to see Orsolini come back. Weah, I'm fine keeping him around and not moving him this summer. And if we move to the back four, slide him up the pitch as a winger option.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I've talked about it. I mean, this question was asked a lot
Yeah.
during the season, and yeah, I've always said it takes a bit of time for players to get used to the league, and I'm willing to give him another season to see if he can improve.
Yeah, me too. Me as well. So keeping him around, we'll see what we can do. See what we can do. But I think he could play a part and help us work around that because at the back we will have coverage. I would like to see us bring in one fullback, obviously, and I'd like to see us keep Bremer. I'd like to see us bring in Calafiori and go from there. The midfield is where it's going to get tricky, and we know the latest that we've been hearing is that Coop's going to end up getting priced out. You've got Arne Slot, his ex-coach, going to Liverpool. Liverpool is fine with the price tag between 60 and 70, and yeah, Atalanta's going to push for the highest end of the number, which should take us out of the equation. Of course, anything can happen. We could completely start getting names out of left field that we didn't expect. That's the fun part about the Mercado. So let's wait and see what happens. We do have a question coming in here from Georgia. Is Thiago Santos or Spinazzola for left back? Omer.
Oof, that's a tough one. I mean, the same arguments that we made for Berardi can be made for Spinazzola as well. The only difference is, I think, Spinazzola, he's a backup right now at Roma, so actually being a backup for Juve is an upgrade. And Berardi feels more like he's looking for first team play. That's probably why he stayed at Sassuolo for a long time. And Thiago Santos, super interesting. The only kicker for Spinazzola is he's out of contract. Because I'm not buying the Berardi can live for free if they get. I'm sure there are some clauses there to not make Sassuolo just losing for free.
Yeah.
But Thiago Santos is interesting. I mean, I'm good with both, to be honest.
Um, I'm fine with either. I think we need to sort out what the hell we're doing with Thiago Jallo. That's the biggest one for me. What the hell are we doing there? The guy could play right across the back four, has done that. So I'd like to know what the hell we're doing there. And he could potentially be used as well on that left side to make up for a fullback. So we'll see what happens. But very, very interesting scenarios circulating around this team. So we'll see what happens. In terms of Ravanelli speaking up. And I'm surprised it took this long after everything that went down, but he gave his thoughts in terms of that Allegri farewell and everything. And he said, Allegri farewell. Had he stopped at the incident with the referee, he would have filled the players with joy. That moment is a bit exaggerated, but the refereeing of Maresca was largely insufficient towards the Juventus players. With Giuntoli and the director of Tuttosport, I think Allegri made a mistake. It's a situation that clearly could have been avoided. I believe there was a lack of clarity between him and Giuntoli based on a lack of people within the club that could act as intermediary between Allegri and the director. I believe they are professionals and adults. I believe that with a direct confrontation, there would have been clarity. And had there been someone in between them, Juventus would have found itself with a couple more points in the table. Interesting. Interesting from Ravanelli.
What was the last line?
He said,
The,
he thinks, if I believe that with a direct confrontation, there would have been clarity. And had there been someone in between Giuntoli and Allegri, Juventus would have found itself with a couple more points in the table. So,
yeah, I mean that's an assumption. It's definitely not a good environment to work in, but I don't think Giuntoli being away from training or not communicating with Max would have made Max play any differently.
yeah, I mean, you bring in a sporting director, usually they're going to want their guys or eventually move towards their guys. Obviously, I don't think the intention was to go through this season knowing 100% from the beginning that, Max would not be the guy. Like if he carried forward and we got a Scudetto and a Copa or whatnot, if he did like a double or something and things were rolling, I don't think they would make the change for the sake of bringing in a guy for Giuntoli or Giuntoli like wanting his guy. I think they would have been more than fine to continue on. So that's kind of one of the problems I have with the media just pushing this thing that it was decided like long, long ago. I don't think it was. I don't think it was. I think they were looking at options and started looking heavily when that skid started coming. I don't think the skid I don't think that skid was a product of this is what I'm saying. I think this is the product of that skid because then it forced Juntali to act and just say, yeah.
How many previous Juve sporting directors would have taken that behavior from Max toward them or management? Nedved would have probably punched him right on the pitch in front of everyone, but Marotta wouldn't suffer. I mean, Juntali is higher in the hierarchy of the team. You can't
Yeah.
act like that. That was like even what he did before that was a good reason to get him fired. But waving your sporting director like that in front of the players, on the pitch, in front of cameras, that's I mean, his hands were tied,
There's an
and he
old school
was
thing. There's an old school thing about not airing the dirty laundry, right? And we saw with
yeah.
Aviva Bene how holy shit that guy was so like for an old school guy, he had no problem airing dirty laundry and making these comments out there. And there was this level of transparency that was like, okay, holy Christ, like this guy doesn't give a shit. Like he's saying everything. But there's certain moments, certain things where it's like, you know what? You gotta you gotta pull back, and that's for behind closed doors, right? But in the end, it was an epic moment. Everything with the officials, I have no problem. I stand firm. If he left it at that, he would see his farewell next week with Monza. But I think it
Yeah.
was everything over and above that. But Ravanelli, always interesting to hear his words. There is there's video of now coming out Allegri just marching through the tunnel there after the Coppa Italia final. It's still not over. Everybody's still going to be talking about this thing for a while to come. It's a big shakeup, and the big shakeup carries on into the summer for us. We started talking about this now. What is this team going to do in the Mercato with all these competitions going down? What do we want moving forward? Like, what is the goal? What is the expectations? Because we keep seeing this question, Omer, and it's like, what are your expectations for this Juventus next season? And it's like, you have those feelings that, well, you want to see what the roster is. You want to see the roster first and foremost. Then you have, well, you're gonna have a new coach. How much time should he be granted, etc. It's like there is so much going on and so much to look at, and even Juntali hasn't even really gotten his feet wet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we were talking about this quite a bit yesterday, and for me it's just like it's bare bones as far as the expectations. Domestically, it is compete on all fronts though, no matter what. And I don't care first year as coach coming in, whatever. Domestically, I will expect that this team still has a roster that can compete for the titles coming out of Italy. Agree,
Well,
disagree on that?
definitely agree.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, yesterday was a good example because for like 70 minutes we were dominated by a team that on paper is not better than us. On the pitch, they were miles better than us. So that looked like a coached team, and we looked like 11 individuals on the field. So bringing someone, if that's what Mota is planning to do with our players, and he's gonna implement that system, that's mostly what I want to see. Scudetto, I don't know. It's up for grabs. I have no idea what's going on with Inter right now. They lost their ownership or whatever. Don't know what they're going to do. There are going to be a lot of managerial changes in the league. Um, the Copa could be whatever. You can draw a very good team. I mean, we had a pretty easy
It
route
was
to
a good
the
road. It
final.
was a good road for sure.
Yeah, and it happens. Fine. I expect to see a lot more progress on the pitch,
Yeah.
in the way you've played, because titles are titles. I do expect us to win something. I don't want to get relegated shamelessly from the Champions League, although I don't fully understand how it's going to work. So I don't know who we're going to play against exactly, or the teams. I mean, we've looked at the past 3 seasons and we saw zero progress in terms of play style. That would be my main focus.
Yeah.
And when I see the play style, then I can make assumptions about titles and what I expect out of this team.
One of my main expectations is to just not be so fucking predictable anymore, you know? And
Yeah, that
to
Calafiori
wipe
goal, the second, that was predictable. We knew exactly what was going to happen, and I've
yeah,
just had enough of it.
let's wipe away this blueprint that has been built to give us problems, which is just simply 3-4-2-1, 3-5-2, like anyone that lines up with those wides and shut down those flanks. Let's wipe that out. Let's wipe that blueprint out and move forward. Okay, so that it's really bare bones like that. It is time for Storm the Barn, everybody. All right, I'm looking forward to this one today. And Alex P saying last night was unpredictable, and I don't want more, to be honest. Come on. Don't fear change, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's roll with it. Let's roll with it. Obviously, we don't want to concede, but Jesus Christ. Was that because we were unpredictable, or was it just because of more brutal mistakes, especially when teams press us? Trying to get cute, trying to play it out of the back for that first one was just terrible. Puts you in a corner, and then everybody was sleeping. I just think this team needs like a fucking electroshock through their system entirely. So let's wait and see what ends up going down. Storm the Barn, reminder, you're tuning into this on your audio outlets. What the hell are you doing? Get over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button. For support, obviously Super Chat's enabled. We got the merch store with new Copa designs. We're celebrating the 15th Coppa Italia. And of course, Dove Rocky, celebrating the last final iconic moment Max Allegri gave us, going Mad Max. Then you've got simply just liking the video, sharing the content, all right? We always appreciate when you do that. Now, Storm the Barn, without further ado, the first one coming in from Swarit. It's pretty obvious that 4-3-3 is the way to go. Our starting trio should be Kieza on the right wing, Yildiz as left wing, and Dusan centrally with Milik as backup. Now,
Amen.
which backup wingers would you want? So, who do we want? Like I said, I'm fine keeping Way around and utilizing him there. Okay? Illing Jr. Should we sell him, or maybe should we keep him around? He's kind of intriguing to me too. We haven't seen enough. But again, if he's used to bring in money for the Mercado, I'm okay with it. But I'm not completely opposed to having him around as help. Omer?
I was almost always on the keep healing train. I didn't get off it. I still don't think left back is the way to go with him, but that was like, okay, that's what we had to do. But I want to keep him. I want to see what he can do, maybe in a better system, maybe playing higher up and not having to run all across the line all game. But he is still young. I do want to see him at Juve. I do want him as a backup. If we can, by some miracle, keep Sule and all those guys, I want him too. Uh, Besides that, I mean, it's really a question of money.
Yeah.
Because I can go with Orsolini. If we bring Loriente, we talked about him yesterday. Fine, still as a backup. Not excited about it, but good backup. We're not going to sign like a top name. Maybe we can manage through Bayern to like buy a Nabri or something like that. But still, if they don't want him, it's because he's injury prone and not good enough.
Yeah.
We can pull something off, but wingers are not our main focus, and we
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. Sule, like again, I was always saying sell Sule, got a ton of money in there, but I can easily see keeping him around. But it's really going to depend on what decisions they make to fund the Mercado. And I personally believe it's probably going to be decided starting with the midfield and what has to happen there. Because all of a sudden, if you lose your one, because outside of Coop Mainers, who's another big target? We just saw, by the way, Cruz retiring. That blew me away. I was very, very
Yeah.
surprised by that. Man, crazy, crazy stuff. But he is retired, and now Modric. There was rumors Modric might actually remain there now.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
going to extend.
So Jorginho, we know, staying there. Luis Alberto, we're hanging on to this, but it's been very, very quiet there. There is going to be funds involved there, hopefully on the cheap. But outside of that and Coop Mainers, there's a big drop off there, right? Like, you have some other guys that are in the 60 million price range that I personally don't feel I would put in that price range, but you do have Merino. There's Zubamendi and whatnot, but I think it's all going to come down to that. If they end up not having to go with a big splasher, like there isn't one or whatnot, then I could see them maybe looking at keeping Sule. If they have to make a big splash, one of Sule or Huijsen has to go.
I actually think that Liverpool are doing us a favor. I think, I mean, signing Coop Miners would be great, but it will stifle our Mercado, and we'll probably have to sell one of the big names.
Yeah.
So we're definitely not going into bidding wars. I've said in the last episode, 60 is too high for me. And it's from a team that's probably going to jump past us in the table because they have a game in hand. So they can jump both us and Bologna. And that's basically giving money to a direct rival. A lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, and Georgia saying I don't see Coop, at Liverpool at all. Well, we'll see what happens. See what happens. And George's got to storm the barn in here too. In my opinion, Huijsen should stay. We have Bremer. Kala, well, hopefully. Huijsen, Gatti, Rugani, Danilo. We can play him wide, and a back three with him, Kala, and Bremer would be amazing. But we aren't going to be utilizing a back three. I really think it's going to all depend on Bremer when it ends up going down there. We've yet to hear about anything coming from Bremer himself. What is the player's will? Are there
Yeah,
teams he's willing to leave for next season? Or does he just simply want to remain? Release clauses aren't put in for no reason. Like, it's going to be interesting.
yeah, well, like you said, we haven't heard anything, so it's all assumptions. I honestly have no idea. He hasn't said anything. I don't know what to expect from him. If he wants to stay, if he likes to rein, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I
And I
really hope he
agree
does.
here that Man U, I don't think is going to entice him to leave, but you're hearing about other clubs. Atletico Madrid, Chelsea is the latest to get thrown in there. So who knows? Who knows? Who knows what the hell he's going to want to do? We just got to wait and see.
Yeah.
Swarit, we need left backs. Cambiaso and Weah on right back, then Danilo and Spina as left backs, Bremer and Calafiori centrally. Yeah, so not exactly a question here, Swarit, but I mean, are we okay with that, I guess? If that's a question, Cambiaso and Weah at right back. I actually think it would be Danilo move back out there. I don't think I'd play him in a center back pairing, which is two. Bremer, Calafiori, Danilo, I would not put him on the left side. And he is not as good on the left side as he is the right. And he's said it several times himself in interviews. Get him over to the right. Cambiaso can play on both sides. Spina, sure. Weah, I'd actually move him forward. If we're going to be playing back four, I wouldn't play him as a back four right back. I'd play him up
Mhm.
on the wing. That's what I would
Yeah,
do.
well, I don't remember where it came from, but it was a credible source that you are going to make some splash on a wing back or a fullback. So I do expect someone to come in. The way you presented it, no, I'm missing something.
Yeah.
Um, Something is not there. I don't know who. I have no idea who we can sign. But I assume you are planning to sign someone like after midfield and maybe central defenders. They will look for fullbacks.
Yeah. Juventus with an interesting take on Cambiasso, wasted as a defender. Yeah, he's got a lot to his game, and it's
Well,
interesting as a fullback.
At Juve under Allegri, because when he played that way for Bologna last season, he wasn't wasted, and you saw Bologna's fullbacks last night. They were heavily involved in attack. They always darted forward. They always joined attack. So depends how we play. I've told you not long ago that I'm fine if we're going 4-3-3. That it will be similar to Italy in the Euros, where Di Lorenzo was kind of more staying back and not pushing forward. That which gave Spinazzola the option to run forward every time. And
Yeah,
I'm also okay with that if we have someone a bit more defensive to freak on. And if it's Danilo, that can play on both sides, and then you can utilize Cambiaso on any side you want. Could be interesting. Could be a
yeah.
good way to go.
And Vidal saying Cambiasso reminds him of Zambrotta. Both very versatile. I would say Cambiasso maybe a little bit better technically, to be honest. But Zambrotta was an absolute freight train, and the fact he did it with those bow legs just blows me away every time, man. Saw
Oh,
him
that's
on
nice.
the saw him playing paddle there like last week, and I'm like, I don't even understand that right now. Like, it's unbelievable how bad it's gotten the older he's got.
Oh, it
Unreal.
looks awful. It looks
Tough to
awful.
look
It's a
at,
horror
man.
show. Yeah,
Tough to look at. Whew. Get
horror
those
show.
likes up, everybody. Adam, best Juve chant. All right. What's your favorite, Omer?
Juve chant. I don't have a favorite, to be honest.
My favorite is the one that we literally use. That's why we literally use it at the start, because it's my favorite, and it's Sono un ultra bianco nero. I just think it's the best one out of the bunch. They do have some good ones. They have some rather short ones that are just to kind of get everybody pumped. But Sono un ultra bianco nero is beautiful. So I'm gonna go with that one. All right.
Yeah, I'll take that one too. I don't have a favorite.
What is your unpopular opinion regarding Juve? I like it. Like it from Adam.
Yeah, I have to think about it for a minute.
My unpopular one for the majority of this season is I would sell Sule. It was very unpopular, and I'm still kind of pretty much there. Unless something drastically changes, we're gonna have to fund this thing some way. But it is starting to open up to maybe being Hoyson as the for sure. But for a while there, mine was that is that we should be selling Sule.
Uh, Unpopular opinion. Oof. I mean, it's hard to have an unpopular opinion when you're doing bad. Um, I don't know. I have to think about it some more. I don't have one in mind right now.
Okay, well, think
Uh,
about it, and let's see. Maybe we'll go back to that one. Okay, if
yeah.
you had to choose who should be our second striker behind Dushan, who do you pick between Milik, Mateta, Retegi, and Morata?
Um, Retegi.
I would go with Retegi there too.
Yeah. Okay. Unpopular opinion. I'm sure a lot of people are going to hate it because I've said it before on Twitter,
Morata
and
is
I.
shit. Is that what you're about to say?
No, I don't think
Oh,
he's shit.
because Anthony
I
Skanga would probably collapse.
Yeah, no, entire Twitter collapsed when I posted that. Um, Paduin was an awful player. Awful.
Pa-
I hate. Yeah, I mean the guy is nice, and I enjoy seeing him now a lot more. But when he was subbed on for Juve, I was like, "Fuck no, not that guy. He's awful. He can't do anything." So yeah, sorry to everyone who likes Paduin. I like him now, but when he played for Juve, I thought he was a very weak link and a really bad defender.
yeah,
A really bad player, not Juve caliber.
I'd go for Retegi there. I'd actually say unpopular. I'd actually agree with this one. I don't think there's a need to move like as a third. if we're gonna be keeping three strikers around, I'm okay with Milik being one of them. I obviously think we should look at bringing someone stronger to be the direct second, but I think off the bench, Milik's just fine, to be honest. Uh,
Yeah,
I
he's
said,
fine. He's definitely not the first name on the outgoing list.
yeah, but hey, we'll see. We'll see. Now, Rabio. For reasons we don't see in Juventus, is a French international that is also a starter. Allegri wanted him to stay. Malta reportedly wants him to stay. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
there's
so that's
part two.
okay.
In his 5 years in his club, what is the quality that we saw which keeps him in plans of mentioned coaches?
Okay, so remember when I told you yesterday that Monblano said something that there's no way he could know that?
Yeah.
And that was the thing. Now I remember. Knowing that Mota asked for Rabio to stay. No way he can know that. No way Mota has communicated anything like that. Because right now he has no bearing on it. So
He
I
has
don't
dirt
believe
on
it.
him.
I probably, or Max is messing with Veronique behind the stands where everyone's gone. Um, no, I have no idea. I mean, the guy, he's just a typical French player, nothing too special about him, but he came in at a time that Juve had no one. I mean, almost every midfielder we had in the past 15 years will get ahead of Rabio if he plays for a different coach.
I will say this for Rabio. When he's on, yeah, he's a beast at winning the ball, driving it forward. That's what it is. It's big when he's on and he's doing that. He's a force. He's a pain in the ass for other guys to play against in the middle because he's bigger. Obviously, the long leg span there and everything that he covers a lot of ground. All of that is great. It's all great. The thing is, though, is for me is just the consistency, and there are some technical uh, limitations that come up quite frequently with him. And that's kind of the problem. If you have a setup where that's literally all he has to do, he'd look great in it. He'd look phenomenal in it. And it's kind of how he's used when he was used there internationally, was breaking play up for the other team and winning the ball back. And then it would go to guys that knew what to do with it. For us, the system doesn't allow that. He has to get involved and he has to also contribute into the final third phase. And that's usually where it kind of breaks down. And that's where a lot of the limitations fall in line. If we had a setup where he could just be used for his best qualities, he would look like a force, I believe. But the fact that we need,
Then
more and quite a bit more based on our play and how we operate, it was falling short for a lot. But another thing that he has is that he's like always fit, always fit. Like very rarely is he not available, which is also important. But overall, I've always been under the belief that in the midfield, I need guys that technically have those abilities, that are not afraid to try these passes that Rabio constantly looks away from or shies away from.
he just doesn't try them. I mean, if you want to really utilize him, and even that's not enough because you need some football IQ to do that, put him as a center back. Because as a midfielder, I appreciate the work rate. And physically, he's better than everyone on the team. But you can't have a midfielder who can't make a 5 yard pass straight into someone's legs. That's an important part of build up your midfielders. And even
Yeah.
yesterday, like Yildiz was standing 5 yards away from him, and he fumbled that pass, make Yildiz run for it. How many times have we seen him do that? Not trying passes, misplacing passes. That's a key element, and it's not. I'm not talking about long balls and the defense cutting passes. I'm talking about the simple ones, the one you start training on when you're a kid, and he doesn't have that.
Man, the Well, the thing is Matuidi. I remember Matuidi and being like so frustrated with him.
Hmm.
Technically, was
Yeah,
a horror show, worse than Rabio. But man, oh man, he would bust his ass and do everything and cover so much ground. And it allowed our forwards on that side to stay high and be able to cheat a bit and put defenses into trouble. But
he
it
had to
was this
cover for
constant
Ronaldo.
battle. It was this constant battle with Matuidi, but he was shocking from a technical standpoint. But Jesus Christ, same thing. He was in France's international squad all the time, and he had his place and whatnot. But again, it's how you work with the rest of it, and we needed the same thing from Matuidi that we're asking of Rabio now, and Matuidi is even worse technically, but he made it work
But
and stuff. But Matuidi was a weird one because I'd get so infuriated with him. But I remember being appreciative of him and his work. But
yeah,
it's just how
I
you
mean,
use them.
but that's one of the reasons you said consistency and showing up when it matters. Matuidi was consistent in his game. He was awful at passing and everything you mentioned, but he was consistent in his game and he did show up for big matches.
Yeah,
And that was important. And secondly, I mean, he had Pjanic next to him. So the job of passing wasn't up to him.
yeah, yeah,
So that's the difference for me.
yeah. And you're spot on. It's the and I mean, big words here. Matuidi had the will of an immortal. I mean, he there was no games off. Like if he was in there, he was running his bag off, and I always appreciated that. But Jesus Christ, the technical play, and again, it's just like that's great. Use him for that, but then get the ball to somebody else and then let him slide back. You know what I mean? Then let him rotate when we're in possession so that he could sit back and then break play up if something goes down. Don't continue to use him driving forward and then he gets to the final third and he has absolutely nothing that he can do. So a lot of it has to do with how we're using these players. It's not to say that they can't get in a lineup because obviously they can and they can be very effective, but you got to put it all together. So Rabio, he kind of reminds me of that, but like I said, he's better technically than Matuidi. But Jesus Christ, it's
That's
frustrating
not saying a
sometimes.
lot, okay?
Yeah. Isaac coming in here. Do y'all favor a back three or back four going forward? Who should go and who should come in? Back four. It's time to shift it up, get into a back four. I would probably say I'd look at if we're just saying that Calafiori and the rumors are all true. He wants Juventus. They're gonna find a deal. It's all. I'd go Calafiori, Bremer, Danilo on the right, Cambiaso on the left. That's my back four. That's my main back four.
Mhm.
Omer.
Right now, if we're like, let's say we're bringing only Calafiori for now, I'm not going to make assumptions about
Yeah.
fullbacks. Then yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem now with Gatti playing there on the right, like here and there, because he is going forward, so his problem is tracking back. I wouldn't be totally against it, but it's not like the way I want you to go. But
I,
definitely not three at the back.
I'm curious about Gatti as a right back. I would definitely try it. I definitely would try it. I'm not opposed to seeing what that's all about, to be honest. Um, you enthusiast thoughts on Kieza being held for ransom to post the Allegri farewell message? I'm actually gonna say this with Kiesa. I don't think anybody really has a read on this guy at all. Like in
He's
terms of what we get from media and everything, and even him, and even watching him interact with fans and everything, this is a very introverted guy. I don't think anybody has any clue, and especially media when they want to talk about relationships between a player and a coach, and we're going to use Allegri and Chiesa in this example. They're going off what they're seeing on the field. They have not. Chiesa has given nobody anything to think otherwise, other than what they're simply seeing, which is a player pissed off that he's leaving. And yes, at one point said, I'm always the first to come off and whatnot, but he's given nothing to anybody. And even in terms of his plans and maybe his entourage's idea to, regardless of a bridge gap renewal, still test the waters, especially after maybe the Euros, nobody has any clue where Chiesa's at. I'll be quite honest. He said in his interview, obviously his plan is he wants to stay at Juventus, and we'll see what happens with the talks and everything like that. But this guy doesn't give anybody much at all. Omer?
Yeah, that's the thing about him. You always see it in interviews and in the way he interacts. He always looks like he has that surprised look on his face. I remember some even speculated that he's a bit autistic. I don't think that's the case. Uh, I just think he got some good advices from possibly his dad. And like the less you say, the less
Yeah.
speculations you have, the less you interact with players on the pitch after fouls. Because we see him a lot of times get fouled, gets up, walks away, just
Yep.
doesn't interact. And that seems like um, like advices you got from someone who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. That's a
And
great
that's
point too.
my read on him. He just stays away, tries to stay away from all the paparazzi bullshit and people getting into his personal life, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, we'll keep going. Unpopular opinion from Juve Pulse, Ferraro, and Scanavino. Why are they still there? The Plus Valenza case is over a long time ago. I don't know if this is unpopular because I've been saying it for a while. These guys are temps to me. They're not the guys that should be at the top running the thing. They have their place. Financial guys, that's cool. They could be around. We need a true leader in. I'm not so sure that's unpopular, and you guys know where I stand. I've been saying it a lot, especially since this Allegri blow up and everything. We just need that guy at the top guiding the ship. So,
Mhm.
not sure it's unpopular, my friend. Not so sure. But Dad, is there any worse trade in the history of football other than Pjanic Artur? Ooh,
Well, it's up there. It's up there, definitely.
I'm trying to think.
Um, yeah, usually in trades are weird because usually one of the players doesn't want to move. He moves against his will.
Yeah.
So it always feels a bit, you know, unsettling. But both teams lost because of that. It was really a bad move. Yeah, it's definitely up there, like top three. Like if I can think about another one.
I'm trying to think of a worse swap deal.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can throw Spinazzola for Luca Pellegrini in there. That was a bad one.
Yeah, that's a bad one. That was a
Hmm.
bad one. Injuries, whatever, all that. Yeah, that was a brutal one. We talked. It's funny it comes up because we talked about the
Danilo Cancelo,
Danilo
yeah.
Cancelo one. Danilo Cancelo one. We talked about that, and I think it was fine for us. It was fine, but I didn't like the fact that that summer it was Spinazzola and Cancelo that we both got rid of. It's like Jesus, you should have kept one
Yeah.
around. But
It's
yeah,
basically leaving Sandro and Matuidi to cover for Ronaldo all season. That was a really bad move.
yeah. Dells, were Loca's comments about a change in our play style a swipe at Max? I'm gonna I'm gonna be quite honest. I have to look up his comments. I didn't
I
actually
haven't seen
catch
them
them.
either.
What's that?
Yeah, I didn't see them too.
I didn't see them either. I saw some post match comments from a few, but I didn't catch Loca's. Let me see if I can track it quick. Okay. Locatelli, next year we need to play better, try to keep possession. In my characteristics, it's important to have possession. It's not a criticism of anyone. When you never have the ball, then you get angry with your teammates among us. Huh. Have the rumors about Allegri's future affected us? It can't be like that. There are always rumors about us too. You either love or hate Juve. We Juventus fans love it and others hate it. So, I don't know. I mean, he kind of says it's not a criticism of anyone, but obviously it's stating not happy with what we were doing this season. That's pretty
But
much as you can as much as you
well,
can say it in the most nonchalant way that you basically don't believe in what you were doing.
hard to disagree. I mean, who wants to get up on the field and defend for 60% of the time just
Yeah.
chasing after the other team?
Yeah.
It's understandable.
And this is the thing. Players, like, I don't think when we say this or we speculate about this or we're talking about it, it's not saying that these guys don't like Allegri. Like, and this is the thing. Because I've seen people push the thing that all these guys are wishing their goodbyes. Yeah, that's called being a professional and also being respectful. You can not believe in what you're doing or not like what you're doing from a coach and still like the guy and still respect him as a human being. The two can exist. You don't have to hate somebody, hate the man, but you can hate the philosophy and hate the tactics and everything. Like,
And it also goes the other way. I mean, we saw what Demiral said about Gasperini 1 week ago. He said, I hate him. I don't want to play for him, but the system wasn't all that bad.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and the only guy I think really hated Allegri that left Juve was Kulusevski.
I think Kulo is just a angry ginger, to be honest. And he faded so fast. I mean, if you're gonna make a little video reaction thing to posts off Twitter, my God, man, how soft are you?
Oh,
Jesus.
he is soft. There's no question about it. I think he
My
just
God, and
hated
then
Allegri,
completely
really.
disappeared again as frickin' usual. But my God, man, Jesus, soft, soft. I was laughing though at the Carlo Garganese getting in there on that one.
I mean, he went straight after him,
Oh
Kulusevski.
yeah, it was
Like,
hilarious. I'm just like,
Carlo
my
did his
God,
job
man.
as a reporter, and you get into fight with reporters over the internet.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Dell's
that's
saying,
weird.
why say it now and not to Max's face?
Well, we have
Did
no idea if it was said to Max's face or not. We know Max is stubborn and he probably won't change anything based on what players are saying.
Yeah, did they
And
say it? Did they
they
like?
might have.
I can't see in a locker room how these guys, you don't have one personality. You're telling me that a group out of 23 guys, you don't have one personality that's like, I don't think we should be doing this. I don't think so. Like, there's got to be somebody that's like, nah, I don't think so. And look at last season. Look at the end of last season. Look at all the guys that spoke out in interviews, and they were all alluding to the play. Every single one of them. It was Chesney. It was Quad. It was everybody.
Yeah, we're saying it sitting on the couch in our homes. The players out there running on the pitch, of course they have an opinion. Of course, if we don't like it, I assume they don't like it as well.
Yeah,
And they definitely said something more than
yeah,
once.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, I've seen the video, Kimmich talking to Flick there and whatnot, but I don't know. I think Allegri is a stubborn individual, and I don't think it would have really mattered. I think it would have really mattered. What's your opinion on Pjanic? I feel he is very underrated. I loved Pjanic. Loved Pjanic.
Yeah, except for no, don't know if except for, but the sorry season, like it changed my mind about a lot of players. Um, but maybe not due to the players and the way they play. I loved Pjanic for almost all the time he's been at Juve. I think it was great. It was a great signing after the Pirlo era and after Pogba leaving. and he did his job. He brought Juve titles. He was the main focal point in midfield for a long time, and did a great job. I don't think he's underrated. I think he's rated just where he's supposed to be.
Yeah. The I will say this in terms of Pjanic, you're a baller when you get brought in and you're taken into a completely different role than what you were playing, and he just never needed that time, never needed that adjustment, whatever. Like he started getting to work and just getting it done. Like, and free kicks, like the setups, the passes, the assisting, like the guy was a beast. He was an awesome, awesome player, man. I loved Miralem Pjanic. Loved him. And I actually miss his kit. I miss heading around and seeing all the photos with him always in Juve gear and whatnot. Pjanic, absolute beauty. Surprised, I don't actually have a Pjanic kit in the arsenal. I'm surprised. I always was like, yeah, I'm going to get Pjanic, and then was like, oh, I'm going to get so-and-so. Oh, I'm going to get so-and-so. And I always shifted, and I ended up, after it was all said and done, being like, I don't have a fucking Pjanic kit, which is a damn shame, because I did appreciate
Yeah.
him,
Also,
But
5 is a good number to have on a shirt.
I got to, yeah, maybe I'll have to do up one of the older ones and slap Pjanic on, maybe the 17-18 home. I got one that's blank. And for next season, I think I'm going back to blanks. I don't think I'm dropping any players on it. I just need maybe some time. We'll see if that changes or anything, but we'll see. We'll see. You guys, one more game left. One more game left. It's going to be against Monza. We're going to have some fun with the year-end show. We're going to talk predictions. I am pretty sure, I can't jinx it. I can't even jinx it, but there are still some bets on the line and in play here that we're going to have some fun with and get old
Oh, now
no-knees
you're
in
definitely
here.
winning it. You're
What's that?
definitely winning it now. You're definitely winning it now. When Max is not playing, no way the Chilio sees any minutes.
Oh, I can't say it. I can't jinx it. I don't think he will. That is hilarious. I gotta rub it in Ant's face. If something, somehow, some way that guy gets in there for enough minutes to win it, I will be choked. But I would love if he got in there and fell like 2 minutes short. Would be actually
Oh,
probably perfection. Probably be
that would be awesome.
perfection for it. But we're gonna have some
Also,
fun.
we're 30 followers away from 10,000 on the main on Twitter. I had a guess, not a bet, back in August that we are going to make it. I think we were on 7,000
Yeah.
back in August, and we're going to make the 10K by the end of the season. So I have 4 days left to
There you
get
go.
30
Let's hit
followers.
that one. Curva suit showtime in that final game against Monza. You know what's coming. There will be a tribute there for Massimiliano Allegri. We're going to keep you up to date with all the news. I'll be bringing you the daily news updates, everybody. And we just thank you for your continued support. Of course, share the content. Like this video, all right? Have a ton of you in here. Please drop a like. And yeah, we'll see you. You know the drill. We'll do a preview show for Monza. The post-match will probably be the season end review show where we'll just recap all the storylines through the season, have some fun, have the full cast in here, and it might be a complete Storm the Barn session. And then we have to settle the scores on the bets that are going on, and maybe, just maybe, we'll give something away. Let's see what happens, all right? But take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weeks, and we will be in touch as always, no matter what. Through it all, thick and thin, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.
Yeah.